Matt Hagood, Director of Media Technology Services.
And I'm Stephanie Doscher, the Director of Global Learning Initiatives. And to get us started today, I'm actually going to borrow a question from our colleague Sherry Andre over here, who is the director of our Doscher Lifelong Learning Institute and a professor of hospitality and also a facilitator of X culture, which you just heard a little bit about ago. In introducing X culture and this concept of having students and faculty work together online for teaching and learning, she asked a very simple question. Have you ever taught someone how to swim without water? Can't do that. So how can we provide a global learning experience or an internationalized learning experience without some kind of experience with other people who live around the world? And we do know from what our provost just said a few moments ago that we'll only ever have a small number of our students study formally abroad during their college career, even if we throw all the money in the world at it. But we can provide a real experience, a deep, meaningful, valuable experience, learning and creating new knowledge with others through the use of communication technology. So what we want to do today is just give you a brief glimpse into what this is all about. Collaborative Online International Learning, or COIL. It's also known as virtual exchange, telecollaboration, co-laboratories. X culture is a brand or a flavor of this work. But in essence, what we're talking about is an FIU faculty member or a faculty member at another local institution partnering with a faculty member who teaches abroad. Our FIU or local faculty member is teaching their own course with their own students. Those students only pay tuition at our institution. They're graded by our faculty member. And the same is true with our partner institution.
Yep.
And those faculty members may teach the same content in their courses, or they may teach different complementary content. But for some portion of their course, maybe 4 to 6 weeks to 8 weeks long, they're going to have their students collaborate on a project. A project that they could not do without their partner on the other side of the collaboration. A project that requires the diverse knowledge, skills, attitudes, cultural perspectives of all the partners that are doing the project.
Should we show the video?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's give you a taste of what it looks like.
Run the video, please.
COIL means Collaborative Online International Learning.
Florida International University partners with the University of Perugia, and we work together to get to know more about both of the cultures and practice Italian together.
The students are super enthusiastic and very motivated.
I think it's great. It's an awesome idea and allows for interchanging of ideas, and we learn about each other's cultures, so I think it's super cool.
COIL also creates friendships, which is good.
It motivates me to come to school because I know that I'm going to see people from other parts of the world and other schools, and I'm going to practice Italian with them, because at that moment when we see each other through Skype, we're basically forced to speak Italian because that's what we both are learning, so that's great. I loved it.
The I in FIU, Florida International University, to have the possibility to work with international partners from all over the world, it's amazing. And nowadays, with the technologies that we have, we can really make a difference for our students and for ourselves, of course.
I think it's great. It's an awesome idea and allows for interchanging of ideas, and we learn about each other's cultures, so I think it's super cool.
I mean, why not COIL? We should have done this before.
All right.
Very cool. And so Matt's going to just tell you about the basics of that, but just so that you aren't under a misconception, one of the things, the video that you just saw showed one synchronous meeting of all of the students in this COIL project. But the majority of this project was conducted with students talking together and collaborating asynchronously.
Yep.
Using their cell phones.
Using all kinds of tools.
Using all kinds of tools.
Right. So, as Stephanie mentioned before, so the two professors carve out a little 4 to 6 week section, chunk in the middle of the semester where they can do this COIL work together. And it's usually 4 to 6 weeks, as she said, synchronous or asynchronous. The actual synchronous bit of it can be very small. We've had some professors that do a lot, but for the most part, most COIL is done. Most of the synchronous part is a small part, so a little bit of video conferencing here and there to get some FaceTime with your partners. It can be a new course or an existing course. The intercultural awareness and communication skills that the students gain is quite incredible. You saw the students in the video, and I always tell this story when I talk about COIL. About 5 years ago, I went to the COIL conference. Stephanie got me interested in COIL, and I went to the COIL conference in New York City, where COIL was kind of started. And it was really fascinating. It was just one story after another of these impactful experiences that the students had going through a COILed course.
Yeah, it really takes off of what Jamie Kassup was saying, that students in Generation Z, which is a term that I never really like because Z is the last letter of the alphabet, so there's got to be a generation after them, they are looking for experiences. And COIL provides experiences with others in the classroom, and we don't even have to get on a plane.
Yep. So, as mentioned, it can be a face-to-face course, hybrid, or fully online, and it can be in any discipline. We have some quite interesting stories of some disciplines that have lined up with each other. Can you tell real quick
Well, we're going to in a second.
Okay.
But I will say that we have a partner in Spain right now who wants to work with someone on fractal geometry and its applications in architecture. So pretty much any course can be COILed.
Okay. All right, so I think this one is yours.
Yeah, just to give you an idea of the breadth of COILing collaborations that we have right now, courses across the curriculum, and this is just the beginning of the geographic breadth of collaborations that we have. COIL, or virtual exchange, has really exploded around the world. The State Department is also putting a lot of money now behind COIL as a method of soft diplomacy. So this is something that we should know about.
And these are just some of the existing relationships that we have going, some of the countries that we've done COIL with. I was lucky enough to go to Brazil a few years ago and presented at a conference there about FIU COIL, and ended up starting a fantastic partnership with an institution in Brazil called FATEC. And it really has become a true institutional relationship, because what happens is the semester ends and they give us a different professor, right? So the professor has changed, but the coursework has remained the same, which is really a great place to be with this.
So we're going to take a deep dive now into what it looks like to design a COIL experience. 3 components, essentially. First of all, we've got to establish some kind of social presence amongst the collaborators, the students on the team, 4, 6, 7, or 8 students on the team. So we begin with a couple of weeks of an icebreaker. And this is usually something that has nothing to do with the content of the course. This is really just getting to know each other, to establish the identity of the other person. The fact that this is a real person, this is not a bot from our last session. This is a person who has characteristics that are similar to mine, and also characteristics that are different. Getting to know what we bring to the table. The other piece will be the meat of the matter, which is the collaboration. And this is really the most difficult thing for two faculty to design because, again, piggybacking off of what Jamie was saying, this isn't group work. This is work that our students must do with a partner. Something that we perhaps could do with the student teams in our classroom, but we cannot do it as well or to the extent that we would with partners outside of the classroom. So creating a truly collaborative structure where both sides of the collaboration and all the members in their diverse knowledge and skill sets can bring them to the table and then connect to create new ideas, this is the essence of COIL. And it's another reason why our own institution is so excited around COIL, because of the truly collaborative nature. We're not just exchanging knowledge, we're producing new knowledge. So this has research applications, institutional relationship applications, and relationship applications. Our students, when they come to higher ed, one of the things that they're leaving with, and we don't really put this front and center as much as we should, is social capital. The relationships that we make with the faculty and our peers will last us a lifetime. These can lead to job opportunities. Now the social capital is taken to an international or a global space. So the collaboration piece, that's the meat of the matter. But learning doesn't happen unless we reflect. So we must build self-reflection, peer reflection, collaborative reflection into the learning experience. How am I changing by virtue of this experience? Where do I need to go throughout my lifelong learning process to build the knowledge and skills to be a better collaborator in a diverse or internationalized space? So these are the three main components. Let's take a look at what it looks like in a course. So we have a very bold course. Marine Protected Areas is taught by a Professor Ligia Collado Vives in biology, and she teaches with a partner, someone that she met 25 years ago in their graduate work. And they've been researching together for this long. And recently they said, well, let's take that research into our teaching and learning space. So they took an idea that Ligia already does in her classroom, which is a virtual, which is they're doing it as a virtual town hall meeting, but Ligia already does a simulated town hall meeting. So the idea is we have a case, an area that we're debating, should it or should it not become a marine protected area? And the students take on the roles of community members, scientists, tourism, people that work in the tourism field, and a multi-perspective debate. But now the students are doing it with their collaborators at the Universidad Autónoma de Yucatán. So the Yucatan and South Florida have a very strong relationship, and they're looking at a third space in the Caribbean. So we're creating a complex, internationalized understanding of the concept of a marine protected area. Students are bringing their different experiences with their locales to the space, and there's a language component because many of these students speak Spanish, so they're able to move back and forth in a working experience between Spanish and English. It's just a lot going on. The students also do self-reflection and peer reflection as part of it.
Actually, I think.
And in the next slide, we see a picture of what it looks like.
Yeah, this is Ligia's class together here on video conference with their partners in Mexico. And our great team in media operations has supported her. This is one that does a lot of video conferencing, which is cool, but it's just a little bit different. We do have a lot of good facilities and services in the Division of IT to support these kind of COIL courses. We have classrooms that have video conferencing capability, course capture capability, and puts the professor in a good situation so they can link up with their partners if they decide to do that.
Yes, because they were involving, this is a science course with a lab component, so they involved the entire lab was the coiled component, and the students video conferenced. every single lab section because those faculty were able to get their lab sections scheduled at the same time. Right. So here's Ligia.
Ligia working.
But what does it look like if there are courses that are completely different? So going back to, and this would be in the next slide, the collaboration that we have with FATEC. So we have a professor, Michaela Mora. She teaches in women's studies. She teaches a fully online course, Gender, Violence, and the Law. And originally, she wanted to work with a lawyer in Brazil because of the Maria de la Peña laws and also because Michaela doesn't really have a strong background legally. So she wanted a lawyer. Matt goes to Brazil. He had a one-pager with a description of what Michaela's class was all about and what she was looking for. He gave it to our international partner, and he shopped it around to faculty. And who raised their hand? A video game design professor. Now, when I got the email that that was the person who wanted to date Michaela, I thought, I don't know if she's going to be interested in this match because it is so obtuse. But we said, let's put it in front of her and see what she says. And she immediately erupted in excitement. Yep. She said, this is an issue that my students are so intensely passionate about. Gender-based violence, as it is evident in the video game storyline themselves, but also in the culture around video gaming. And 51% of the gamers are women. So this is a very strong, very big issue. So the first collaboration was around an awareness campaign. So the technologists and our women's studies students, they needed each other's expertise in order to develop an awareness campaign that would make change in an audience of their choice. But they have been collaborating over time, and now where they're moving is that the students will collaboratively develop a storyline for a female's journey, a heroine's journey, rather than the hero's journey, a much more gender-neutral and sensitive video game design. So this could become an actual game.
All right. Next slide. So technology. Obviously, technology is a key part to COIL, right? So it kind of has two pillars in my mind. It has the kind of the pedagogy, teaching and learning side, and then the technology. Because without the technology, you really can't make these connections. The students are, it's quite extraordinary how quickly the students will start using the technology that they already know of to connect with each other. Yeah. So the professor will say, okay, guys, let's, here's our, I'm going to send a group email. I'm just giving an example. A group email to both classes, right? And within a day, they'll all be on WhatsApp together, right? And they'll be messaging each other. And, and then it just goes from there, right? Mm-hmm. We do have VoiceThread here at FIU, which is a terrific tool for collaboration, where they can, it's kind of like a controlled social media area where the students from the other country can get in quite easily, and they can interact and upload videos, pictures, and things like that, and comment to each other. But I think it's important with the technology. So at the end, the students are really sort of going for this skill, right? They're having this experience, mm-hmm. right? They're going to have this experience, and when they come out the end of it, they're going to have a little bit of a skill, which is this collaboration that they've done, say, with someone in China. Well, that's a pretty marketable skill in my mind. So if you're leaving college and you have on your resume that you worked on a collaboration with folks in China on a technology project, right? That might be something that's quite attractive to an employer because China has a lot of hurdles. There's language barriers. The government is very restrictive on the different tools that you can use. So I think letting them kind of find their way into the right tools is a part of the skill building that happens here. And this has been kind of a theme all day too. I wanted to mention, as a professor, I think you always want to look at what you want to do first. What are you trying to accomplish? And then let the technology tool kind of come in up under it and support that need. Don't. Too often we've seen the reverse, right? Where we have this new tool and let's use this tool, and then you kind of force it down, right? So I think that's a good way to approach it, and COIL is I think very supportive of this concept.
Yes, it's about what do you want to do, and then we'll figure out what the technology tool is that we can use to do it. And generally, even if as faculty we say, okay, we want every student to use XYZ technology, students are like, out the door. Something that...
yeah, you're way behind, Professor.
You're way behind, or we want to simplify things. Something that X culture has really given to the field is a massive amount of research. And if I understand correctly, the three most popular abiding tools that students use to collaborate are Google Docs, WhatsApp, and private Facebook groups. So we really don't have to get too much further afield than what we use on an everyday basis in order to do COIL. So one of the things that we know for our students, the benefits that this is going to give to them are an increased number of collaborative opportunities, the ability to work effectively in a virtual team, intercultural awareness, stimulating interest in travel abroad or study abroad, if not now, then after we graduate. If not as part of a study abroad experience, then maybe you're going to take yourself on a spring break experience to meet the people with whom you've developed a relationship online.
And I think it's also worth mentioning too, one of the things that we've heard over and over again is the relationships definitely transcend the COIL experience, right? So these kids, they stay in touch, they're friends, they link up together completely on social media, Instagram, WhatsApp, they're talking to each other, the plans start getting made, they build personal relationships, which I think is terrific.
And the same thing happens for faculty. So, and that's the next slide, is that really this is an opportunity for more professional development for faculty. So a number of faculty have said, the things that I have been adopting and adapting to with my COIL course have direct applicability and transferability to courses within which I'm not COILing. Improving the ability to communicate and teach online, giving a reason and more of a function around teaching, electing to teach a hybridized course or a fully online course to integrate COIL as the reason why we would want to adapt a face-to-face course into that modality. Developing co-teaching skills. That's the reason why I asked the question earlier about the relationship between the technologist and the discipline-specific expert. We're a very unique institution in terms of the COILing world in how closely and how integrated we are in terms of academic affairs and technology. I'm really not familiar with another initiative that's as big as ours, nor that fundamentally has a kind of a co-directorship,
right,
a co-partnership.
Right.
Do not see COIL as something that we could do without each other, but lots of other institutions mostly just focus on faculty affairs and technology as more of a service unit. That's not how we think of things here. It's an equal power and an equal contribution relationship.
Right, and actually, we're going to talk in a minute about our institute too. So that's something that we tell. So we have a COIL Institute. We're doing one. We did one this past spring that was quite successful. We're doing another one. We'll give you the particulars on it in a second. But one of the things we tell people is like when you're trying to build a COIL program for your institution, you're going to run into people that are like, I don't know about this. You don't want those folks. You need to go towards the folks that get excited about the idea. Those are the ones that are going to get you to success. So,
and in terms of the success, it's that common purpose, right? So as an educational technologist, as an educator, we're both all about teaching and learning. So we're bringing our diverse skill set to this space to develop a wholly different teaching and learning experience. And we have to learn how to be flexible in understanding or using the terminology, or in doing things maybe in a different order than we normally would. It may be sometimes when we're working with our international partners, one of the first conversations we want to have is about connectivity, so that we can figure out what is possible to do, and then moving into a conversation about teaching and learning. So we have to kind of learn different ways of collaborating and working with each other. We have a lot of cultural curiosity about the cultures of the classroom, the culture of technology. The same thing happens with our faculty and our students who are working together. We want to open up the space for asking questions, being curious about what we don't know, being more comfortable asking for help, more comfortable saying, I'm really ignorant about this space. How can you bring your knowledge and your perspective to me, and vice versa? So being responsible and committed in that space to being open and vulnerable. Lots of communication is implied in COIL, and also managing expectations around what is it to be successful in this space? What is it that we really want ourselves as faculty to get out of a COIL experience, and what do we want our students to get out of this? Is it about a perfect paper? Is it about the A, or is it about something more substantive, more innovative, more of an open space, an inquiry-based space, rather than we have the right answers, but what are the right questions that we should be asking? These are all the kind of keys to success around the mindset that we want to have when we engage in a COIL experience, or if we are considering facilitating COIL.
Right.
So we want you to know, if you're interested, or if you go back and you want to get people excited, how can you find a partner? Because that's really the first hurdle to overcome. So you might already have international collaborators with whom you are researching, writing, people that you know from graduate school, people that you work with in your professional organization that you want to work with. You may already know someone, and you might be able to engage them in the possibility of COIL that way. But we also have hundreds of visiting faculty on our campus every year. These are Fulbright specialists, Fulbright research and teaching scholars. Part of their J-1 visa requirement is that they maintain the relationship with our institution after they leave. This is a way we can invite our international teaching and research guests to maintain our relationship after they leave. Our colleges and our departments have institutional partners, and it's more and more likely that they're already doing COIL or virtual exchange on those campuses. Our office, the Office of Global Learning Initiatives, and also our Office of Global Affairs, we're standing at the ready with people who are looking for matches. More and more, we have individual faculty and institutions who are coming to us and saying, we want to COIL with you. And really, the most unlikely matches are sometimes the best ones.
Absolutely.
Are the best ones. Yeah.
We are running low on time here,
Yeah.
so why don't we just jump? I don't think we have any time for questions, unfortunately, but
Well, we will afterwards. We'll be hanging out about.
Yep, there is the information on our institute in the spring, and there is our contact information.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
thank you, Stephanie, and thank you for moderating the panel today.
Pleasure.
Really excellent. So,
And thanks for
guys.
sticking around.